Oh, we've got another mystic one track. Very nice. Still did a strange thing there. I'm not sure exactly what happened. Looks like it refreshed or something. Yeah, good. Alright, we got another mystic pop up. Excellent. Out here. Nice. Game version says, Rat stopped streaming for a second on my end and came right back. Yeah, that's what it looked like. I glanced over and it was very strange. I don't know exactly what happened there. Some kind of blip. Oh, 8 of 12, not bad. Well, we're waiting on a little bit of power. Might as well do the run and see if there's any mystics that we didn't see hang on. There's some rainbow rants. I'm tempted by those. But I don't see any more mystics. Oh, there's one now. As soon as I get in a fight with something, that's the one. It's alright, I'll take it. Ah, yes, and then it put out the message that I just started the stream. How interesting. It has done that before, but it's been a while. I have a couple of abilities here that you have to be behind the creature. So there are some backstabby type things. And it's like, you know, I stun the creature and then try to get around behind it. Backstab it, and it's out. Sometimes I can get them both off, but sometimes I can only get one of them off. It's like 1.5, and then it's like, oh no, you're not behind that, you know. Or with one of them, you have to be basically directly behind the thing. You can't be off in any regard to the direction. And so sometimes that's the way that it gets you, and it's like, you're not behind the quitter. Game devotion says when I'm soloing with the ranger, I have to stun him back up because of the minimum bay range. Yeah, I get you. I played a ranger for a while, so I know how that is. A lot of kiting involved. I'm reminded of an old country song. It was like, give me 40 acres and I'll turn this root around, you know? It's kind of like how I feel with swashbucklers sometimes, but with ranger often. It's like, yeah, you need a clear field so that you can do your running in circles business. And then later on, with the ranger, you get one where you have to be close in. So it's like, I think it's like, is it point blank shot, something like that, where you have to be just right up on it within 5 meters. And so you have to run in for that and out for the other stuff. AA and the edgy one, that sounds right. And so you're running in, you're running out, you're going in viz because you have more things, I believe, as a ranger at this level that you have to be in viz for than I do at this level as a swashbuckler, which I only have this one. Shanghai, that's the only one I have to be in viz for. And I feel like at this level ranger had more than that. And I think that assassin also has more that you have to be in viz for. By this point, by level, I mean, I'm at 46, so 4 at 42. Yeah, that sounds. I knew that I felt like there were significantly more. So with the swashbuckler, you kind of get more positional things, front, back, side type stuff. But not, you just have, like I said, the one where you have to be in viz. What's funny is I actually have quite a few ways to go in this. Just the one thing to do with it. But the refresh rate on this one is pretty low. It's like 10 seconds. Yeah, recast 10 seconds. So even though I only have one, I can keep using it pretty often. And it's a nice one. Because it stuns the target pretty much. Throws the target back and all that, but it stuns it. Lasts for 2.5 seconds. So it's a pretty good combat art. And of course it also does damage. 303 to 503 melee damage. That's significant. It's one of the ways that I get behind things. I'll go invis, use that spell, it knocks them down, and then I can run behind them and knock out some of the behind, backstab type spells like this kidney play. This cat's paw is really good. Don't know if you can see that, but it inflicts 415 to 689 damage, and it also decreases their agility by 26.6. So it's high damage and it decreases their chance to dodge, so pretty good. It's it's one of the ones that you have to be behind, and it's like you have to be directly behind them. It's not any leeway on them. Which is easy enough to do if you have a tank, if you have somebody else with the aggro. Much more difficult by yourself. Gonna check around for some mystics real quick, and then I'm gonna run and grab a drink. Not running and grabbing a drink, that makes no sense. There, needed that. Let's see if we've had any repops on anything. Run out here ways. We've got 9 out of 12 of our updates, which is really actually quite good. I didn't expect to get that many this quickly. Thank you, Game Devotion. But yeah, if I can remember to use my mana stone more often, you start early. It really helps with not running out of power quite so quickly. You know, you don't want to wait until you're out of power to use it. Then you go ahead and start using it earlier, and then you can keep using it like now, and you know, keep your uh, your health and your power kind of equally going down, and that way when you're waiting for the regen, you know, both things are regenerating at the same time, and you get back full yeah, you know, you have to stop less often, I guess is the main thing, which I know. So what AA line did you end up going down? What AA lines did you end up going down with your ranger game devotion on this server? Let's see how game devotion says. I went down the agi line to get 22% ranged crit chance, 35% casting speed, which is nice for a lot of my abilities. Right, yeah, because you guys have now. I also put 8 points in strength at the top of the strength line, so my bow hits harder, sure. Maybe I put a few points in intelligence for poisons. Yeah, with this one I actually ended up, strangely, going down the intelligence line. I really wouldn't have chosen to do so, except that some of the other things on this line were quite good. So I do like the boot dagger. It gives me another chance to go in viz. You have to have a dagger in your primary slot for it, but that's okay. I'm okay with dagger. I'm equal opportunity about most of those sorts of things. Um, but yeah, there's some of the stuff down here that's pretty good. So I went ahead down that line first. Then with my second move, which was just like, you know, I had to do something with my points. So this is what I did. I just threw them in the strength line. I can't use this one because I don't have a sword equipped in primary. I can't have a sword and a dagger, right? And I would much rather have the boot dagger than I would Torpus Strike. So that's what I went with. Defense, chance to critically land a melee attack. That's cool. And then this one, it's not as good as I wanted it to be. Basically, I can cast it and keep it up pretty much all the time on a single target. I have mail. Yeah, decrease the reuse speed of the target by 50%, which is cool. And I won't say it's not helpful. It certainly is helpful, particularly against caster types, but it's not as great as I would have wanted it to be. I don't know that it was the right decision of what to go down, but it was, the decision that I made when I suddenly decided, hey, I'm just going to do something and go with it. Felt stupid going down the intelligence line when, of course, as a swashbuckler, you have 0 spells, My curiosity is piqued by the mail that I've received. Feel like running over to the docks just to find out what it is. Oh, Game Devotion says I'll set you a wolf totem so you can delay returning to town if you want. Thank you. Would have been funny if I had run over to the docks to check on that. Since you sent it to delay the return to town. It's very funny. Did you ever get the Chamber of Immortality? I think you needed that, didn't you, for Varsoon? Said no, but I made it worth double by getting another HQ. Yeah, excellent. Well, if you want to go through that, let me know. You can definitely do so. I don't think that I'll have a lockout on that right now. Let me make sure. I do, actually. Still have a day and 19 hours. So, a couple days from now, I can help you out with that. What's crazy is that I also have a lockout on Nek Castle for another full day. That's insane to me because we did not kill everything. So I know why we got the success lockout on what should be considered a failure, I would think. Game Devotion says lockouts are so serious on this server. Yeah, definitely. I remember, 7-day lockouts and things like that back then. For different kinds of zones, and I think even for quite a while it would be that way for raids. It was like 3 days for failure, 7 days for success, something like that on raids. that was actually why I did the race to Trakanon server, was to get that zone lockout resetter. It was the entire purpose of me doing that server. Forgot about that server. Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I met some cool people on there. A few of them ended up coming back with my guild. They had been from another server, but we met on there and had a lot of fun. And they ended up taking their characters over to my server on Maya so that they could join our guild afterwards. It was a lot of fun, but it was definitely pretty intense trying to get that lockout resetter, because you had to do, you had to accomplish certain things in order to get it. And it was a couple of different things. And I think I did all of the collections that you had to do, which was like, I want to say it was like 270 collections. I don't remember for sure, but it was all the collections pretty much that were available, plus the quests that were available. And I also did, I think, all the raid bosses that were available at that time. And that went up to, let's see, I remember doing the bone mire and stuff like that. But I did get the zone lockout resetter that I was going for. Got an ad incoming in 27 seconds. At some point, I need to go back and Tomb of Night and get that questline finished. I actually have a lot left to do in the Sundered Spirit Hall as well. I have done enough in there that I was able to buy the spell, but that's it. I've done a little bit in there here and there, but let's see what my faction is looking like. Oh, neat. Strange, my faction with the Sabertooth clan, I would have thought it would be negative 50,000, which is the maximum negative it can be. It actually isn't. It's only negative 43,000, being able to quick to. It's all those red centaur calling out the drain, probably. In fact, if you look at my Great Herd faction, it's negative 790, so yeah. Game Devotion says they still might forgive you, it seems. You never know. Yeah. kind of interesting to look at, you know. The Academy of Arcane Sciences. It's got 0. Again, it's a little surprising that a 340 manufacturing would be kind of okay with me. Okay, neutral. Yeah, maybe you're fine. And Freeport militia are kind of on my side. A little bit. I mean, honestly, the Freeport militia likes me almost as much as the Qeynos guard does. I'm not sure how to feel about that. I think I want to say, hey guys, you know, I'm on your side here, and I've done some things for you. You know, maybe you give me a little bit of appreciation. You know. I don't know. One thing I can't remember, and this is unrelated to anything except that I was looking at my Iron Forge Exchange stuff, and that sparked my thoughts about crafting. And I can't remember if the senior crafting line comes out with Echoes of Paper or not. I kind of feel like it doesn't. I feel like maybe it was an update later on, but I can't remember for sure. And if it was an update later on, would that be reflected on the server, or would it just be included along with? I don't know. It'll be interesting to find out, but if it is included, then we should see the little trade skill dude in North Qeynos in the Ironwood Exchange when he comes into play. So, Game Devotion says I remember some good crafting quests that take you to Butcher Block, but I don't know when they came up. Oh yeah, no, that was... So that... I feel like that was later on. The ones I'm talking about would be like, go gather, you know, 10 pieces of wood and 10 pieces of iron, you know, from, at this tier. And so then you'd go and do that, and then you'd be like, craft these random things, you know, just a few pieces. And, you go turn them in. I think they start at level 20, and you get one quest per tier. At the end of which, I think you can choose one book, one advanced book from the tier. So if you're doing the tier 3 one, then, or the tier 2 one, then you'd be able to choose a book from level 20 to 29. Yeah. And it would just be, you know, that's your whole reward for it. But I thought they were really neat. And so, yeah. In fact, I think that those may be the ones that culminate. I may be wrong on this, but they may be the ones that culminate with, well, they do the big book of Bertoxus in Sinking Sands. They do have some more that go up to Kingdom Sky. I think it's like a senior crafters service or something like that. It's the name of it. I don't recall for sure, but there's something like that in the Kingdom of Sky after you finish the Sinking Sands. But Sinking Sands really stands out because it's funny, and it's, you know, it's a little different than the others. Wow, we got a Multex Mystic pop up here. But yeah, I don't remember sure when it came out. I kind of thought it might be around the same time. I know that it was before the like the Shadow Odyssey stuff. Okay, 10 out of 12, nice. I'm actually having a really good success rate on these triggers. I'm getting fairly close to being able to get another crafting table for build off. Need another 35,000 or so, which is actually not that bad. That's like 7 rush orders worth. Like I could just go knock it out, you know. I can't remember what the name of the quest line or anything like that was. But it's like, you get it from this guy. He's like Grandmaster or something. In the Qeynos, Iron Forge Exchange. I'm pretty certain that he was there before level 80. Like the 80 to 89 section. I think that might have been that dev called Domino. I think was involved in implementing it. Yeah. Yeah, I think Domino was the one who did all of the like the group crafting quests and things like that in the Shadow Odyssey. Shadow Odyssey. Ended up working at BioWare in Edmonton. I don't think I'm familiar with BioWare. Now, Edmonton is in Canada. Mass Effect and Dragon Age and some other stuff. Okay. I've heard of Mass Effect, but I've never played it. I remember that she did a lot of good things for crafters, you know, in EverQuest 2. And then I don't know exactly what happened. Some kind of falling out. You know, I don't know what the behind the scene details or anything like that were, but and it may have just been one of those things where she got a better offer, you know, monetarily. I have no idea. Well, actually, only need 2 more of these vials are stressed. I feel like I've heard of Dragon Age. That's not an MMO, is it? Isn't it just I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe it is. And yeah, okay. Alright, now I'm MMO. That's what I thought. Like I said, I haven't played either of them, but I've heard very good positive. Kind of run out and check and see if there's any wayward mystics spinning out in this forest. The skeletons hide really well out there. Game Devotion says there's 4 of them, and the first one is amazing. The Mass Effect or Dragon Age. Dragon Age, okay. Ad starts in 56 seconds. Yeah, as far as like non-MMOs, I haven't done those very much in a long time. You know, when I was a kid, I did like Nintendo and things like that. And then I did some computer games. But I started playing EverQuest 2, and haven't done a lot of like console games since then, really, like a little bit. I've done like Nintendo Switch, the original Switch. Um, and I don't mean to say Switch, I mean to say Nintendo Wii. Because I didn't do the Switch. My kids did the Switch. Um, but I think I prefer the social aspect. Really, I've always preferred the social aspect to gaming, in gaming. Even when, it was console games. I remember when I was little, we would have Atari. And even then, even like on Atari, I wanted to play with other people. Never was interested in playing by myself or on things, on anything really. And so I would, you know, my brother and I would play Pac-Man, and we would trade off, and it'd be essentially going for the high score. Who can get the higher score, and we did that with a lot of things. If it was a one-player game, we would still make it into something social by having a competition. Um, but I'm pretty much like that with everything, I would say, not just gaming. Just that's just how I am. So for me, like MMOs make sense, but I'm also picky to a large degree, and so I don't like just any like I want there to be content. I want there to be, you know, a world that you can, that has substance to it. I don't want like a sandbox with nothing in it. That's not exciting to me. And I know that was a big deal at some point, was doing, sandbox games. And I think the guy who came up with the concept was like, oh, well, it's like a kid in a sandbox. You can do anything you want. But the trouble is that, like, I wasn't that kid, I was never the one who, you know, took the pile of sand and made something out of it. I'd just rather do something else than that. So I never played with others or anything like that, really. Um, of my own volition. I don't know if I'm just not imaginative in that way or what, but I never was really interested in doing that. And I feel the same way about what they call sandbox games, which in the truest sense was them throwing you into a world and there's really nothing kind of in the world. No guidance, no quest lines, uh, no world building, you know. Game devotion says make sure since everyone's different. Yeah, I completely agree. So for me, it was definitely like the social aspect is very important in a game for me. The storyline is also important. There needs to be some substance to it, or else I'm not interested in playing it. I need some setting, and I need some kind of goals. Whether it's it needs to be something entertaining for me. And that's why I've stuck with EverQuest too for all these years. It's just, I've tried a lot of other MMOs through the years, and I can say that it's not, none of them have held my attention for very long. because realistically, they don't have a lot of substance to them. The other games, they don't have the kind of content and the storytelling that you can get, especially in the early years of EQ2. And part of that is probably because I've always been a reader, and so you get a lot of little short stories basically in EverQuest too, if you read the quests. And also there were some that were a lot of fun to try to figure out what to do. Through the years, there have been a good number of really decent little riddle top quests, and that keeps it a little bit challenging for me. In addition to the fact that, like, especially at this point in the game on Origins, um, which was around late 2006, um, at that point, the game was much more challenging than any other MMO available. I mean, not even, no question about it. It was just more challenging in every way that it could be, while also having the content. Game Devotion says, yeah, EQ2 is special. I agree. It is. And it still remains, even though live has been live is a ghost of what it once was. But even still, I really don't think there's anything better out there. A friend of mine was trying to learn EverQuest 2, and he's never done a lot of computer games. He's mostly done console games. So he was trying to learn it recently, and he said, the thing is, I can't understand really how to use the numbers to cast my spells. And he's like, it just feels weird, I'm used to something different than having my hand up there at the top, and I've got the, one hand on the ASD keys, and then I'm trying to do, the 1 through 9 keys, and I'm just looking at him like, yeah, it's not really what we're doing here, and I was like, for the most part, you're clicking with the mouse on the keys. I said, listen, you got, you got 12 keys, you got 12 hot keys per hotbar. You've got 10 hotbars, and on live, I mean, you're using all 10 hotbars, and you don't have everything on there. You put some things that are just in your knowledge book because you don't have room on your hotbars for all of your hotkeys, for all your buttons. And I was like, you can't, you can't assign buttons to each one of those. So that's not what we're doing. I said the number 1 through it's actually 1 through the equal sign. But anyway, I said, those numbers really are used more than anything for like emergency spells. So, if you have an interrupt, or if you have like an emergency heal or feign death or something like that, that's what those are used to. And he was just like mind blown. He's like, oh, well, all right then. So he had been playing, and he'd gotten his character through the starter island basically on Origins. And it was, again, his first time ever playing really an MMO. And he has not played much of anything on a computer. And so he had been doing that using the number keys to cast all of his spells. It's like, this could be part of why you're having a little trouble. But it was pretty interesting. I told him, so I think, you need to come over and I need to show you how I do it. And then, like, you can figure out what you want to do from there, but, you can at least see how I do it and then get some idea of what the options are out there. So we might do that sometime. He had quit playing after, like I said, he got out of that. And I didn't really realize at that time the kind of things that he had been doing because he was resistant to getting help when he was first learning. He was like, no, I've got to learn how to do it on my own first, and then I'll want other people to come with me. And so I tried to be respectful of that. But the fact is that, yeah, it sounds like he was making things a lot more difficult on himself. And we kind of had this conversation the other day, like, because he wasn't consulting anyone and he wasn't, you know, he wasn't getting any advice. And so it was very, it was just making the game much more difficult for him. And since he didn't start on mod, he started on this server. He was facing, 2006 difficulty levels and complexity, and then also with no experience whatsoever in MMOs without any assistance. So, Game Devotion says, maybe I was lucky that someone introduced me to the game in person. Yeah. I think that, if he had just come along and seen me playing or seen someone playing and figured it out that way, it might have been better for him. I think that he just didn't want to, I don't know. He's a very independent person and didn't want that kind of assistance. Yeah, lots of people are like that for sure. And there's nothing wrong with that for sure, but at the same time, it's like, maybe, I don't know, a few questions would be helpful. If something strange and, you're struggling to learn something, sometimes it can help to ask for sure. And the only reason it came up at all is because I was talking to him about EverQuest 2, and he goes, yeah, I couldn't really get into that at the time, I think I'm just not, he's like, I'm just not used to using the number keys so much. And I was kind of like, wait, hold on. Game Devotion says, okay, it's time for me to get ready for the big meal. See you on later, maybe. Yeah, maybe so. Good luck at your Thanksgiving. Yeah, no problem. Let's see if I can find some more of these weird mystics out here. Maybe some pops. Who knows? I even doubt it. But there we have. Look at that. Look at that one. Look at that one. Let's see if we can get an update out of this guy. That'd be nice. Could happen. You never know. Oh, he did. Oh, nice. So now we just need one more bit. Of course, this will very likely not be the last quest in the quest line, but just this quest alone, getting out of the journey would be nice. Could happen. It is phenomenal how that monastery. It's crazy. I was telling you earlier about having this earring. It's a fishbone earring. In addition to applying water breathing when it's activated, it also has 8 stamina, 8 agility, 31 health, 25 power, 88 versus arcade, 105 versus noxious, and it's a level 32 earring. So it's really not bad. And of course, depending on what you're looking for, it could be better or worse. But personally, I just pop it on to use the the underwater breathing bit, which again lasts for 12 hours. But some classes could use it for just their normal wear. Better than handcrafted at that level, at least. I think. Maybe not, honestly. Wow, you got a mystic on track. Nice. No updates now. Can't get them all. Gonna run out here and see if we have any other mystics out here. Not super likely, but possible. I don't have very many things out here to spawn them. Looks like we got an ad bait. May as well knock these guys out on the way back in. for Bullfoot's Citadel. Who knows, maybe something will respawn on the way. And we finish this up. Could happen. Once I do get this update, you may have to take off for a bit, take a break, get some lunch and things like that, potentially. Seems like that would be a good point to do it. Hopefully, this next set of respawns get me to the That's Mystic update that I need. Who knows? Somebody's looking for more to kill General Raw. Need heals. You have 2 out of 6 of the people they're looking for, so if you need a draw, there's your opportunity right there. That's for the Bloodskull Valley for the Return of the Light Heritage quest over in Commons. I'm gonna go ahead and use this mana stone before I start the next battle. Let's see what the reviews on this is actually. You cast in 45 seconds. It's not terrible. Got looking for more. They've got 4 out of 6 of a group. They're looking for heals and DPS. General patrol groups also looking for heals and DPS. It's kind of interesting. I would think that they do more DPS just running around. Like, let's see. Let's just do 4 priests per. So there's 56 priests currently on. Let's see how many scouts there. 53 scouts on at the moment. So many mages that I just haven't dusted. Well, mage too. It's actually all mage, not just 3 mage. There are 2 mages just in Nek Forest, by the way. There are 76 mages on. I'm gonna say that's pretty crazy. Let's see how many fighters. 51. So there are fewer fighters, but the fighters never have any trouble getting a group, it seems. They're never being called out for. I'm not especially far from Antonica Falls now, really. If you look on this map, you have a cave. It goes from here to there, and it takes you just south of where Sul Origins Falls is. So I probably, if I finish these guys, to go do that before I have made that. That makes sense. Maybe, depending on how long it takes. Well, nothing from that guy, but let's see if we have another mystic up. Knock down his mitigation a little bit. It's nice to kind of keep the mitigation knocked down as much as possible. Makes the whole thing go a lot faster. Oh, look at that. Amazing. And so, go ahead and hop over to um, the Chamber of Immortality, which is Soldier Falls. And try to get the update that I need there. And then I'll probably go ahead and evac and take you to the Antonica, Carmeline's entrance. And then I'll go log for a while, get some things done, and then I'll come back. Big plans. If you need any mist running goblins for a quest, this is where they're at. This is, I think, the annual where they're at in this zone. So they're just south of Cellular Falls. Also, be careful not to run into plants that have names of plants over them like that in white. Because here in Nek Forest, there's a lot of those types of things. They are all kind of like put some kind of detriment on you. Some of the detriments can last up to around 5 minutes, I believe. So try, if you're in this zone, not to run into the flora. Alright, so we got the Solar Falls update. Next up, that quest. Okay, it says the quest seems to go very backwards underneath the falls. My journal says return to the burial chamber and discern what the quest is trying to tell you. Well, that's all fine and well, but for now, I'm going to go ahead and have a break and go get some things done in real life. It was a pleasure streaming with you all. I enjoyed the chats. If you're not following me yet, be sure to follow me and turn on notifications so that you can see when I go live. And we'll go for now, and I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.